Greetings, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another coffee rant with Dano and my Superman mug. No Frank today, as Frank is taking a break because I need to talk about the greatest superhero movie of all time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Guys, I gotta say, what a spectacle. Now, I have to also say that I am a diehard Superman fan. You guys all know this by now. If you've been on the channel for a long time, you know that I am a huge Superman fan, and I am a patriot as well. I am a American patriot. I love my country. There's been speculation. I've been seeing a lot of things going on in the news lately, which is kind of sickening if you ask me. I always feel like things get misunderstood. Things get misread. This movie is not woke. Not by any means. And, you know, see the movie. See the movie. It is the greatest Superman movie of all time. This is coming from a diehard Christopher Reeve fan. Absolutely. And also, there's no spoilers in here, okay? I am going to talk a little bit about the movie, though. But I'm not... Everything that I talk about is going to be that we have seen on the previews. There have been things that, you know, they do in this movie that I feel like all audiences are going to enjoy. This Superman, David Cornsweet's Superman, is absolutely incredible. Best superhero movie I've ever seen on screen. Now, you know, and it shows because this movie is selling out like crazy. And once you see it, you'll understand this guy. He makes me feel like if I was Superman, this is the kind of Superman that I would want to be. This guy is all about saving people. I mean, it is straight out of the comics, guys. I grew up reading Superman comics, a lot of the different things, a lot of scenes, it kind of jumps, you know, pretty quick, you know, into the movie, and you're kind of like lined up with these different like comic book type reactions. Now, I do have a couple things that I want to say right off the bat. Jessica, my wife, if you're new to the channel, Jessica has never really been a big superhero type movie gal. She loved this movie. Me, and I wouldn't say no. I'd look over at her in certain parts, and the smile on her face, and my mom was with us too. The reaction from them was priceless for me. I'm like, thank you, James Gunn, for coming up with a movie that is good for everyone. This is a movie that if you have a chance to go see it at the theater, I highly recommend it. Don't believe a lot of the different negative stuff that some people are saying on the idiot box. Okay, I've seen things, you know, and the funny thing is I watched a couple of these interviews that these news anchors and stuff, and I won't say which ones. I'm not going to point out different news sites and stuff like that. But I mean, it's kind of, you know, they're all using that as something to draw people in, to put a negative on something that is a very positive movie. Now there are things in the movie that's like, you know, what would you do? I'll just say that, like, what would you do? And some people could question some of the things that Superman does, but it's like, if you were in the same situation, unless you are a terrible person, unless you are an absolutely horrible person, then you would do the same exact things that Superman does in this movie. And it just, but aside from that, okay, aside from the political narrative that everybody wants to paint on anything good these days, okay? And I am going to do a full-on spoiler of this movie. And I know we have a lot of fans. I usually don't do videos like this, but it's something I'm real passionate about here. I'm going to do a full spoiler-filled review of this movie here in a couple days, and I'm going to do it in a very special place. And if you've seen the movie, you may have an idea of where I'm going to do this. Please don't leave it in the comments, because everybody needs to see this in the movie. There's a couple scenes in the movie where I was in utter shock, and absolutely just unbelievable, guys, unbelievable. And I didn't really want to start this video off about the whole woke thing, because I think everybody, a lot of people, including myself, I try to push out the negative vibes of everything. This movie literally pushes negative vibes from the inner evil out. And that is what is absolutely amazing. It's not just that it's about Superman. It's about this is good. This is like, I have to kind of pause myself on things because I don't want to spoil anything, but here in a couple days, I'm going to be going somewhere, like I said before, and we're going to be talking about spoilers in a very special area, a very special place. I can't say what it is because it would spoil something in the movie. But guys, I gotta say, I told Jess, I said the last time I felt this excited about a movie was when the original Jurassic Park came out of the theater. I was a little kid then, and I was just so excited to see dinosaurs on the screen for the first time, in that kind of way. This movie it's unbelievable. It has, I've been hearing a lot of things too about it on the news. Right? Because a lot of you guys are probably hearing this stuff on the news and you're like, oh, I'm glad I didn't spend the money for that. Don't listen to anything they're saying. The one thing I can tell you after building up over 60,000 subscribers on my channel here over the years is I've developed trust with you guys. You guys can believe me when I say that a lot of the stuff that is going around, there's a lot of negative people out there that just want to see things. To kind of quote Alfred from The Dark Knight, okay, and he's talking about the Joker, and he was talking about a criminal, in that movie, and he was trying to relate his thoughts on what the Joker was, because the Joker was crazy and just destroying everything. And Alfred says to Bruce Wayne, because Bruce Wayne can't figure out what is the Joker's motive here, and Alfred says to Bruce Wayne, some people, it's not about money or financial gain or any kind of motives. Some people just want to see the world burn. And guys, I'll tell you what, that is a message in some ways, like in this movie, that kind of resonates through the movie as a whole, because it's like you feel like it just kind of opens up this whole new world, because that is what they're doing. They're developing a new DC Detective Comics universe, hence DC Studios. But when I hear some of these news reporters on TV, it kind of makes me feel like that. Some people just want to see the world burn. They just want drama. That is all they want. They want drama, and that is it. And I felt it was very important to not only do, originally I was just going to do a Superman review of this movie, let you guys know that it's the best movie I've ever seen at the movie theaters ever. This beats Christopher Reeve, guys. It pains me to say that almost. I grew up on Christopher Reeve, and don't get me wrong, I still love Christopher Reeve. I love Henry Cavill's Superman too. One thing I will say about the Henry Cavill Superman is that after seeing this movie, after seeing the new Superman, it does show me and remind me how dark that movie really is. How Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, which is a terrible storyline. It was cool to see Frank Miller's, see, those of you who are watching that know, I do know my comics, okay? It was cool to see Frank Miller's version of The Dark Knight Returns on live screen. Batman vs. Superman. They just didn't go into it the way the comics did, and it was kind of like all over the place. The plot didn't make any sense at all. And there's even people that are saying the plot to this movie doesn't make any sense. Then you didn't watch it. I mean, there are things. James Gunn has a way of delivering a movie where you're going to have comedy, you're going to have some drama, you're going to have some passion. How many of you out there like Guardians of the Galaxy? I knew when this came out, I knew that this movie was going to have comedy, that it was going to have a bigger than life type opera or dramatic, lack of a better word, an ensemble of characters that are kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's very similar. It's very similar to Guardians of the Galaxy. And people are complaining about that. It's like, why? Did you not like Guardians of the Galaxy? The comedy is great. The comedy fits very well. I feel like people are coming out just to bash this movie, and I don't really know why. The audience score for this movie on Rotten Tomatoes, even though I don't pay much attention to Rotten Tomatoes, when you see 96% of an audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, that has to tell you that, well, you know, a lot of people like this movie. Let me tell you, too, in the theater last night, it was completely silent. Completely silent. People were in awe of this movie, guys. It is a movie to see at the theater. It makes me feel better that after seeing this, I was up until, like, you know, we got out of the theater. It was started about 8:30, I think. We got out. It was almost 11. Lots of previews. I literally talked to my mom for like 2 hours on just how awesome this movie was and trying to figure, because she was a diehard Christopher Reeve fan too. And my aunt as well. Both diehard Christopher Reeve fans. Of course, they grew up in the George Reeves era, and they love George Reeves, watching the old shows, you know, back in the whatever time that was, 60s, 70s, maybe. 60s, I think. Maybe earlier than that, I don't know. But I've watched reruns of George Reeves, and he was a good Superman too. I mean, even before Christopher Reeves. It's kind of funny that they're not related. I know some people have always said, oh, they're related. No, it's just kind of odd that they both have a similar last name. Christopher Reeve and then George Reeves. Like, it's Reeves and then, I don't know. Anyway, the movie's great, guys. The movie is absolutely fantastic. Like I said before, you know, I'm a diehard. I love Superman. One thing I will say, and I know there's I don't want to say a cult, okay? I don't like that word. I don't like the word cult. But there literally is Zack Snyder cult fans from the Snyderverse of Henry Cavill's Superman, Ben Affleck's Batman. Don't get me wrong. I love those movies too. I thought the Zack Snyder rendition of Justice League, the big 4-hour episodic adventure that he took us on with that version of Justice League, was really awesome. Not really the Superman, though, that I like. I don't need neck-snapping Superman. And I know people argue that, like, well, he had no choice. Well, they didn't have to put that in the script in the first place. You know, it was just real morbid and real dark. But in that time, right, back in 2013, when Superman came out, I was happy for any Superman movie, and I think most of us were. If you're a comic book fan at all, you were happy to just see movies. It didn't matter what it was or how it ended up, or, you know, that franchise fell like a Led Zeppelin. People were not going to the theater. People found out what it was like after Man of Steel, and they're like, well, I can't take my kid to a movie where Superman snaps somebody's neck at the end of the movie. Right? You don't want your kid to see that. And it's very gruesome. It really is. And then you get into Batman vs. Superman, it's like Batman's just straight like running over. It's like his whole morals get thrown out the window, which changes in Justice League, I guess. And he's a more weathered Batman and stuff like that. But even Superman, it was like, you know, it was just, I don't know, it just wasn't my thing. This movie is my thing. This is Superman. David Cornsweet, absolutely amazing. I never thought in a million years that anybody could beat out Christopher Reeve Superman. Now, this is a different time. And I will say a lot of things in my spoiler video that I'm going to do here in a few days. I got to wait till I can travel to this area. I'm telling you guys, it's going to be awesome. You're going to love it. If you love this movie, if you love Superman in general, you'll love where I'm going here in a couple days. So make sure you subscribe down below so you do not miss what is going to happen. I've already got it set up. I got it set up with where I'm going. Who knows I'm coming? And they're excited for the adventure with Dano to show up. Oh, I'm so excited, guys. I want to tell you, but I just can't. I'm not actually, I can't right now. I have to wait. There's a little period that I have to wait till I can even say where I'm going. So, really excited for that. But guys, don't listen to the whole narrative. Don't listen to the whole thing that people are saying. I know a couple of you had mentioned stuff, on the channel. All this movies, they're saying it's woke. You know what? Do your research. Okay? Don't believe something from the idiot box. How much trust do you really have in that? I mean, I watch the news for certain things, and then I do research on other things. When we talk about prices going up in food and stuff, or food recalls, there's a rigorous amount of research that goes on my computer, right? I don't take anybody's word for it. I sometimes get to the point to where it's like, okay, there's enough information, there's enough articles, we have to mention it, right? We have to talk about it. But when it comes to everybody trying to get you to turn on the TV, or, this is a hot subject right now, it's something to where, it's like news places, politics, they want everything divided. This movie brings unity. Not to quote Justice League. That is kind of funny. We did, though. But it brings happiness. It brings something that you have not seen in the movie theaters in years. In years. Something I haven't. Now, again, I know. I'm really excited. I'm a huge Superman fan. It was very hard for me to come to the conclusion that this guy beat out Christopher Reeve. I mean, and it's the times, too. Okay, best Superman on film. Two different Supermen, okay? Two different ones, which I love both. I do, And next week it could be back to Christopher Reeve. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, was the original Superman movie, and Superman 2, as they kind of go back to back with each other. I gotta take a sip here. That coffee is super. Anyway, I saw people leaving that in the comments of my video that I went to Newport on the Levee. Also, make sure you check that video out. I walk around and we check out a lot of Newport on the Levee. Sometimes videos like that, I'm not the best at titles, guys. I never have been. I know some people like, oh, you use the same title for videos. Well, it's a different video, but I'm not very good at titles. I try to put titles out there that I know people are going to want to see the video. You can call it whatever you want, but I want to make sure that if I do something really cool, or anything for that matter, that people are, seeing what's going on and coming in to see the video. And I understand a lot of this stuff isn't what I normally do on the channel, so it may not be being recommended in your feed, your videos. But anyway, Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane killed it. She is absolutely best Lois Lane ever. And don't get me wrong, I love Margot Kidder. Margot Kidder was, until last night, my favorite Lois Lane. And Lex Luthor, I don't know what the heck. People, I hear mixed reviews. I've watched some reviews, people on here talking like me. This is the most diabolical Lex Luthor you will ever see in your life. I love Gene Hackman, but he's not Nicholas Hoult. Gene Hackman, great actor. God rest his soul, rest in peace. Also Christopher Reeve and Margot Kidder. But they all nail it. They all nail it. If you are a Superman fan at all, I will say, if you grew up reading the comics, you're going to love this movie. If you grew up and Christopher Reeve was your favorite Superman, you are going to love this movie. Now, if you like the dark, gritty, beat the crap out of each other, Man of Steel and the Zack Snyderverse and all that, well, you're still going to like this movie, but you're just going to have to get over the fact, I guess, that this is the way DC's going. And I am very excited for it. Okay, and I don't mean that in a mean way at all. But the Snyderverse fans out there, which they call themselves a cult, okay, I didn't make that up. They're very, they get in people's video. They'll probably get in this video. They probably will. Whatever. I have This is not what I normally do on the channel here, but hey, I'm going to do what I want to do and talk about what I want to talk about. Greatest superhero movie of all time. Now, I am a bigger fan of DC Comics than Marvel Comics. I did like a lot of the Marvel movies that they came out with years ago. If you watched if you watched my video this morning, when I'm walking around Newport on the Levee, have lunch at Newport Aquarium, walk around the Ohio River, it's a beautiful video, you should check that out. I talk about some of the Marvel stuff and how I've kind of fallen out of love with it. Because I feel like ever since Iron Man snapped his finger, there at the end, that was the end. Endgame was the end for me. It was like everything else after that has just been going downhill. I'm hoping Fantastic Four kind of, lifts it up some. But I don't know. I do go over some of that in the video that you probably saw this morning. The Superman 2025. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I like how there's no origin story. That's not a spoiler. They've gone over that with all the, it just kind of jumps into it. He's already been Superman for a while. And I like that. We don't need another origin story. We don't need to see how he comes from Krypton and does that. They kind of hint on some of those things in the movie, but it's flat out amazing. And it's for everybody. There were a lot of, people saying, oh, it's only for kids. No, it's not. I mean, I do consider myself a big kid, but like I said earlier in this video, Jessica absolutely loved this. My mom absolutely loved this. And it's just everybody in that movie theater loved this movie. I mean, there were groups of people standing throughout the theater talking about the movie just in shock. Just like, I can't believe what I just watched. There were people talking about getting tickets for the weekend, which I am, by the way. Aunt Dana was not able to make it, and I'm going to see the movie with her, as she is a diehard Superman fan. We are a Superman family, guys. This is the Superman movie of all time. All time. Even if you're a Marvel fan, and you're one of them people that's like, oh, I don't want to see DC movies. You need to see this. James Gunn brings it. And it's Guardians of the Galaxy-esque. So if you like Guardians of the Galaxy, you're going to love this movie. If you didn't like Guardians of the Galaxy, you're probably still going to love this movie. I mean, it's different. It's Superman. There is a lot of comedy. It's funny. And that's good. It's good to have comic relief. Again, a lot of the stuff I'm going to have to save for the spoiler video, and that'll be the last video that I do on this, but I just wanted to share my appreciation for this movie, as it is a true symbol of hope. Superman is a symbol of hope, and that has never been, like, they've said that even in the other movies and stuff, but this, it's like, wow, this guy is a special guy. He is a special person, not just because he has powers beyond belief, but because he has a heart. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a great night.